Professor Nikem. Thank you for this opportunity and all you've taught us this semester. I'm excited actually. Okay, so before my invisible audience and you, of course, I want to discuss the topic of libel, which you know about via my proposal. Okay, I first off, let me just say that I believe that libel is such an incredibly important topic because in the media age that we live in, we have grown so much, and that comes with complications. So the reason why I think, also another reason why I think that this is something to be discussed is because we have a unique challenge. The United States, particularly, we already have a history of regulating communication and libel and slander. But when we add the cyberspace and we start trying to bring that same morale to cyberspace, we're challenged. And the reason why we're so challenged is because it gives so many people a microphone and we have so many people occupying this space. Now, there's a dilemma that comes. And I can actually point, if you can see, because I'm going to skip this, the chilling effect. The chilling effect is that people will be so scared of consequences that they're not going to say anything. And what's going to happen is it's a fear that we might impede on the First Amendment right to freedom of speech, and of course we don't want that. However, there has to be order in everything we do. And communication is a little different than stealing. You know, that's a little more clear cut, or murder. This is a little delicate, so what I hope to do is to delve deeper into that and discuss some things. I'm really, really excited. Okay, so what is libel? Libel is just written defamation. You know, slander is oral, libel is written defamation. And let's talk about what constitutes as libel, okay? The first is publishing, you know, but the thing is, how do I say this? I want to go back because this is where we break down the intricacies of it. It's not as clear as you said something, you wrote something mean, and now you're in trouble. It's not that simple. There's certain facets that need to be proved or evident to really accuse somebody of libel. So the first aspect is publishing. Now, it's not that something is published and you're automatically in trouble, but it has to have a libelous motive, like a malicious motive behind it. We must assess malice because if not, then it was just error, and we will have to look for ways to remedy that later. The second is a third party. Libel is very big on reputation. That's really what you're fighting for. You're fighting for the right to a reputation. And so we have to deal with the third party. What did this affect the individual or organization in some way? And I want to break that down further. This is also where we examine costs because a lot of things need to be measured. You know, say a different organization has something written about them and it was defamatory. Okay, was it just a mean thing said that didn't really harm anyone, or did it really cost them something? So we'll be able to measure, hey, no one's buying their product. I want to take you back in time, and this was not, to me it was an international issue. I want to take you back to like the 90s actually. Oprah Winfrey, the mad cow disease, you know, had her sweating. Now that affected the meat, that affected that industry, you know, but she had a responsibility. Now, she was set free, but there was no malice behind it. She was reporting what was the truth. A third one is a statement concerning the plaintiffs, and we're gonna take a moment. A statement of concerning the plaintiff. All that simply means is someone cannot sue on the basis of on behalf of someone else. So if I'm gonna make a claim or try to file for a lawsuit, I can't sue for what was said about somebody else. It has to be about that plaintiff. So follow me further this way, okay? It has to be defamatory. You cannot, we're not suing over compliments. We're suing that you said something bad with malice. Malice is, again, incredibly important when you're trying to say defamatory. And false, it's a straight up lie. Like, it's very clear that something was conjured up for the sole purposes of injuring that reputation. Okay. And I need to say this. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier. Let me see. We talked about the third party representation and cost. So yeah, like these the sole purpose was to injure their reputation, which cost them a lot financially, or even in the way that they're held. So like even when they said defamatory, and a lot of the literature was like people don't look at them the same. You know, injure someone's reputation does not only affect them financially, but it's just like people can't trust them the same. You know, there's been many cases where we see that we won't buy from businesses because of their personal ethics. You know, their product might be fine, but because we don't agree with the morale of that brand or the individual behind that brand, we will again take back from them financially, or we'll judge them, and that's just not nice. And then we're gonna move on to privileges. Privileges, okay, that's very important. So let me see, did I write it? I did. Yay. Okay, so absolute privileges. Okay, this government, okay, judicial, legislative, those administrative, those type of proceedings, they get absolute privilege, okay, because of the position that they're held to and the purpose of what they're doing it for. Now I kept telling you, I kept mentioning, I continue to mention without malice, without malice, without malice. Okay, fine. So like say for example, for this one is qualified, by the way, qualified privilege. Say for example, someone calls the police and they tell, how do you say it? They report to the officers that some great tragedy, and say they give a police report. Okay, that would not be considered as libel unless it was done in malice. So if it was done in good faith, that's what qualifies. If it was done in good faith, those people are free to go. So as we see, we see that we have laws in place to protect against libel, you know, and we found that over the years delicate balance of freedom of speech and right to a good name and reputation. So now I want to go back and we can move. No pauses here. We can move. We can move and we can talk about. We can add that online element that I came to talk about. Really, the juicy stuff. Okay. So we're gonna talk about SLAPP laws. Okay. SLAPP. It stands for Strategic Lawsuit Against Public Participation. Okay. Okay. Now with that, let me say that again because I said that kind of fast. Strategic lawsuit against public participation. Now the issue with that is that I feel like I don't want to repeat myself, you know, is that that's where those are the laws that how do I say this, like that threaten our freedom of speech. They really, really do. And then the anti-laws are there to protect it, you know, to prevent that chilling effect. As you get further into it, there's different lawsuits that argue on behalf, and this is where I want to bring up the controversy. Anonymity, okay? Anonymity. Can I say what I want to say and nobody knows my name? There's a colloquialism or a slang term called like Twitter thugs, you know, or people that are so brave because they can't be seen. And so there are laws that are threatening, that are saying, hey, if it causes too much damage, we're going to unmask you. Okay, we're gonna unmask you. Now, as I research, of course, I've developed opinion on this. I think that wouldn't be such a bad thing. However, the cost must be measured, you know? So, for example, if there was, I'm going to give two examples. So, again, if there was a business that lost like a lot of money and it was based off lies, or there was some type of scandal that really, really threatened someone's reputation, or even a kid in school. Cyberbullying is wrong, but if it was so heinous, not even just saying mean things online, but really say taking obscene pictures of someone in a gym room or the locker room, I think this could really affect our school systems. So taking pictures of them and writing mean things like that, or while they're or in the privacy in a shower or something like that's when I feel like unmasking would be very important. And I believe it has this proper context. And just like there were provisions for privilege, I believe that there should be provisions for slap laws. Now, anti-slap laws, they argue that same point and stuff. It's too many anti-slap laws continues to make the cyberspace a free for all, and that right there, with so much risk of malice and endangering a reputation, can really turn cyberspace into really an online jungle, and we don't want that. So yeah, that's slap laws, anonymity. And there was something else I wanted to bring up. The name of the gentleman is Alex Jones. There was a shooting. And I'm really trying to be as brief as possible. But there was a shooting, and I believe he said that there's words there. He's all over the internet because of saying that this was staged. Now, this was not libel. This will go more into slander, but I still would like to touch on it because we're talking about defamation here, and it's serious. Now, in that situation, what if he believed that this really was a conspiracy? What if he believed that? Should he be set free because this is what he believed? What if, and this is hypothetical, what if he is a little off, mentally off, a little unstable? What if that was the case? Would this be a moment of temporary insanity or mental illness? What is going on? Or does that much carelessness deserve repercussion? These are the questions that we're asking because that was a sensitive issue and people's lives were lost. Now, the thing is, what are these laws? The people have already died. How is this hurting anyone? Because it was during a grieving process. And who gives him license to say that? However, on the other hand, he was a big YouTuber. So we know that traditional journalism has changed. So it's not necessarily the person who works for NBC who has the right to a microphone. These are where it gets a little more delicate, He has right to his freedom of speech. But now we're in this paradigm. So it's very important that we get these laws in order, because I don't believe that there should be a slap versus anti-slap, just like I don't believe there should be reputation versus I don't believe that there should be right to a good name or reputation versus freedom of speech. I can say what I want, or I should be censored. It shouldn't be that. It should be, these are laws to create a healthy balance and equilibrium, because that's the way our country is ran already. So I'm really trying not to make this long, because even your presentations are 10 minutes. So I won't make mine too long. And I just want to say thank you for the opportunity and how far we've come to make it to April. And I'm excited. So thank you very much, and you have a great day or evening or weekend or whenever you watch it.